Before we get into this video, I just want to give a quick announcement. You can catch all of us from the 252 squad at Mustang Week. We are going to be here at this meet on Friday night. We're going to be bringing out the S650 that just got recently tuned, the new Edge Mustang, and as well as my 6R80 car because my twin turbo car is still broken. But yeah, catch us all out there. We'd like to say hi to all of y'all. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Well, boys, since the twin turbo S197 wanted to go down a month before Mustang Week, we got to move on to the next best option, and that is the daily. So let's go ahead and get into modifying it so we have at least something cool to take to Mustang Week.
1, 2, 3!
Well, guys, the time has finally come where I have snapped and decided it is time to start modifying my daily driver, which is never a good time. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start modifying it. Something that I wasn't able to do too much of on my purple twin turbo car is actually do the cosmetics. And that is something that I've really wanted to do on this car. So in today's video, we're gonna go ahead and start with it doing a few simple modifications as well as some rear brakes. That way we can get a little bit more stopping power. It's really because my buddy Brandon is building a race car and he needs small rear brakes and he has a set of GT500 rear brakes and calipers. And so we're swapping out these stock small GT brakes in the rear for some GT500s and doing some marker lights. So there is some lighting stuff, of course, the Amazon RTR front grille, which I am getting rid of. But these Mustangs have really good lighting from the factory, especially here in the headlights. But the big thing is these side marker lights here. They feel very dated. Like, you click the light here, and you see these nice, you know, of course the headlights were clean there. But then you got these little orange bulbs there, and man, they look super outdated. And one thing on my purple car is the fact that I have LEDs, and they really tie together the way these cars look, especially cruising down at night. Looks way more menacing with the, you know, the rear tail lights the way they do. If you have LED license plate lights, third brake light, and LED lights there. So we're gonna go ahead and start with some side marker lights and then move into the LED rear lights there, and then some rear brakes. All right, so if you know me and you've been watching my other S197 build, this was something I did pretty early on in that build, and that is just some Amazon Gem Pro LED lights. Like, these things cost 50 bucks for the set. They're smoked, so it's going to go well with the blacker theme of the tent and everything like that. And so it's just going to look nice down here. Replacing those, super easy, doesn't take but, you know, about an hour with removing and doing the front ones. And so it's super easy to do, especially even if you don't have a lift, you can get them done pretty easily. So we're gonna go ahead and get those knocked out, and then I have some Raxium license plate lights that go down here, and that also really helps tie in this bright LED look that I'm gonna go for. So yeah, let's go ahead and get these swapped in. So the rears are super easy. All you need to do is take a trim tool. So I have this nice Blue Point one, and you can just get in there, pop these things out like that, and then they just kind of unplug like that, and then you can just essentially unplug the connector and pull the old ones out. So we got this driver's side rear end, super quick, super clean swap. I just think it looks so much better, especially with the dark theme we're going for here. Just the smoke does a lot. It's going to do a lot to swap this thing up, and then the way it's going to look on the car is going to look so good. So once I get the other one in, I'll go ahead and light up the rears so you can see what they look like. So I went ahead and got the rears all done, both sides, so it automatically looks a little bit better. Just like I said, darker, matches the rest of the car. Nothing too crazy, but if I come over here and light this side up, you can just see how much more of a difference it's going to do looking like that, rather than if I come over here and it looks like that. Now the fronts, I will have to say, are a decent bit more difficult. Like I said, if you got a lift or something, it's a lot easier, but essentially what I'm gonna have to do is, see, wheels turn, I'm gonna have to access it through the fender liner here and get to it, because it's got like a screw right here in the fender well, and so I'm gonna have to get this fender liner back, which isn't too hard, just a bunch of 7s it looks like. Pull this fender liner back so I can get to the screw and then pop this one out. So like I said, you can just kind of roll the fender liner back, and the wiring is gonna actually be right there. Right once you get there, like I said, there's going to be one little stud. It's going to be at the front here, and you can take that off with like a socket and a ratchet, and I think it's a 10 millimeter, so it's not too hard to get off either. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this back, loosen up that stud, unplug that connector that's right there, and get this one out. Correction, there are actually 2 studs I forgot about, but just these little, like I said, 10 millimeter style little nuts that just go up there, and then once you get those off, it just pops out, and so you have the nice hole in the bumper. And yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and get the new ones in. So overall, same thing as the rears, just the same design and everything like that, just black with white LEDs. I did forget to mention, but essentially what you do is you actually take the bulb out of here, and you take this and you clip this in where the bulb goes. If it isn't self-explanatory, this just goes in where the bulb goes, it clicks in, and then you just twist this in, into the back of this right here. You can see the slots, and then they twist in, and then this essentially works as your bulb because it's an LED. So yeah, let's go ahead and get that one slapped in. Wow, that exposure looks crazy. So we got all the side marker lights on both sides of the front and in the rear, so everything's looking good there. Got my buddy Raven here. He's helping me do the brakes, so we're getting ready to start on those. Of course, I killed the battery by leaving the ignition on, so that's why I can't show you the lights right now. But as soon as I get the brakes on, I'll go ahead and do that, and we'll show you a full 360 of everything. All right, actually, well, that's probably not good. I forgot I also had LED license plate lights. We'll see if this one's gonna work, but correction, they're Morimoto's. So I'm gonna pop those out. Hope and pray that these work. These are also super easy to undo and take out. There's just some Phillips screws here that you can take off and then pop those things out. They'll come apart, and yeah, then you can just slide these bad boys up in there and hope and pray that you don't drop them and break them like I probably just did right there. Actually, I found an easier way for doing these than I did the last time. So you can actually just take the same trim panel and pop this whole piece down and then just drop them out and then unplug them there, and then you'll be able to clip the new ones right back into place. And that seems to be working a lot easier than the last time, because the last time I did this, I did it on my driveway, and it took me like 15 minutes to swap these, and now I'm like 3 minutes in. So do it this way. It's not that hard. Just one trim tool, pop everything down, swap your lights. So we started on the GT500 swap, or so we thought, and it turns out that Brandon did not give me the brackets to adapt the calipers. So GT500 swap, you have to space the calipers out a little bit for the bigger rotors, and he didn't give me the brackets. So here I am with my brakes fully back together after wasting like 30 minutes. Thanks, Brandon. So yeah, that will be maybe in a later video. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and start with doing some lowering springs right now. So yeah, I probably won't do that in this video, but we're gonna start putting some lowering springs on the side. We're actually doing it in this video because I reviewed the footage and I have nowhere near enough footage for one video. So we're gonna go ahead and slap some lowering springs. We're gonna start with the rears back here. It's not gonna be too hard to do. I'm just gonna stick a stiff knee underneath the axle, undo the shocks, the lower shocks here, and then hopefully just be able to yank the spring out. So let's try to do that without ourselves, hopefully. So the easiest way I've found to do lowering springs on an S197 is step one, get a lift. Just kidding. If you don't have a lift, you can do this perfectly easy. It's so easy to do lowering springs on these cars. But I just undo the 15s up top there, drop the sway bar down so you can easily get to the shock bolts. Undo your shock bolts, let it hang. Have something supporting the rear axle, like a jack or something like that. And then have your buddy hang off the axle, and it'll lower down enough that you can just literally take the spring out by hand. You don't have to worry about tension or shooting out or anything like that on the rear axle. These are some of the easiest lowering springs to do on any vehicle. And they literally take you 30 minutes to swap a rear lowering springs, which is super nice. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the other ones back in. I have Ford Performance ones to go up here. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and swap those in right fast. Alrighty, now we're moving on to do the front coilovers, which definitely are not as fun as the rears. They actually take quite a bit of work. And that involves starting off by lifting the hood up. And going ahead, I got to remove the strut tower brace because I'm going to have to remove all of these bolts here because I'm going to have to pull the whole strut assembly out because I have to put it on a spring compressor, use the spring compressor, take the old spring off. It's a process, but without further ado, let's get into lowering the front end to match the rear end. All right, so that wasn't as bad as I remembered it being. I did end up getting it off pretty quickly. It's just literally the two bolts to hold that in, a 10, and then your sway bar end link there, and then all the bolts up there, and then you can just drop it down. This is the fun part though. Now for this next part, if you work in a shop like me, this is pretty easy. If you don't, it's probably pretty hard. And that is compressing this strut and spring assembly so that you can put the new one on. Like I said, we got some iBox sport lines here. So what we're doing is essentially we are compressing the spring to remove the tension so we can unbolt this top nut here from the strut, and that way we can drop the strut down. Then we can get rid of this spring here, put that spring in the compressor, compress that spring, slide the strut assembly and the top hat on, and then go ahead and retighten everything up. Like I said, it's not complicated. It's just kind of difficult to do if you've never done it before, and kind of dangerous because that spring is highly loaded, and if you don't do it right, it can hurt somebody. So make sure to take your time in doing this, and if you do have the cheap spring compressors, just watch it when you do compress it. Alrighty, so we successfully did not die. And we got the new lowering spring on the front for the front right, so I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate what I did on this spring, go ahead and do it for the passenger or the driver's side, and go ahead and get them back up in the car. Alrighty, so we got it all back together and everything, and I'm gonna just go ahead and say it looks significantly better. These things have monster truck ride height from the factory, and so lowering it down looks significantly better. I'm gonna go drive on it right fast, get it all settled back in where it needs to be, and then I'll show you the finished product out in the open where you can see everything all together. Alrighty, so I've been driving on the car and with the new setup, and I have to say I am really enjoying it. The car looks significantly better than it did back in its pretty much stock form. As you can see, it's looking pretty good. Let me show you a little bit better. So we got it all lowered up in this video. We got the lowering springs on the front and the rear. We got all the lights here all the way around the car, making this thing look like a spaceship at night. Now, there are some more things that I've done to the car. As you can see, there's badges here and a few other little things that I've done here and there, but there's more coming. We got a GT500 spoiler coming. We got a video coming out on this new deck lid setup I got going on back there. So we got a lot more to come on this car before Mustang Week gets in, which as of right now, it's Sunday. Mustang Week, we are leaving on Friday to go to Mustang Week. So we don't have very much time left to get this thing right. And so that means we got some more content coming out on it. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Just doing a few little cosmetic things to start this build, this cosmetic build of this S197. So thank you very much for clicking on the video and watching it all the way through. If you watched this point, if you don't mind clicking that like and subscribe button, I hope you'll have a great rest of y'all's day. Peace out, and I'll see you in the next one.